Okay, so now's the point where I show you how to fix a mistake called dropping a stitch. Dropping a stitch is where you had the stitch on your needle, but somehow it's not there anymore. And what it is you've dropped it. And you can see here, the stitch is all the way down here when it should be up here. And all of these little bars here were once worked into this stitch. So we're going to drop down, we're going to try to fix this. And now, what you do to do that is there's a bunch of different ways. You can leave these on the needles and use separate needles to work this stitch back up. I am going to just do it with the needles I have and hope that that shows up on camera. So what you do when you drop a stitch is you grab that stitch so it doesn't drop anymore. Okay, so you don't want it to drop anymore because it can run until it hits the cast on edge, which is even more frustrating. And you make sure that you've got it on the needle correctly so that your leading leg, which is the leg of the loop that's in front of the other one when you look at it in 2D, not in front of the needle, because the leading leg could be behind the needle like this. It's about which one's actually in front. So when you're looking at it split on, this side of your loop is always going to be your leading leg. And that's a very important term, knowing your leading leg. Okay, so you've got your leading leg. You're going to pick up that first bar, right, so that you can fix it. And I did this in a stockinette area, which is the part where you're knitting one side and purling the other. This is a little easier to show. But I'm going to turn around and do the back side so you see purling. But right now we're going to fix a knit stitch. So I've got my bar. I'm going to pull that on top of the left needle in front of my picked up stitch. And I'm going to pull that picked up stitch over top of that bar and off the needle. So now that's my picked up stitch. Okay? And you do that with every bar that is a knit stitch. And when you have stockinette, you can just stay on the one side and do that over and over again. Okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to show you a purl side as well, because sometimes you've got to fix a purl. So I've got all of this on my purl side. You can see all my purls here. It's the same thing basically. You take your picked up stitch, right? I can drop it for effect here. I've dropped it. I'm going to pick it up, grab it, and hold it in place. I'm going to take this bottom bar here, so it's not this top one, which is attached to the other stitches. It's the lowest one that's not attached to this stitch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that there. I'm going to pull this picked up stitch over to the right needle. I'm going to put my bar in front of that, or behind it, however you want to look at that, so that it's closer to the edge of the needle, or the tip of the needle. So you've got your bar and then your picked up stitch. And it's the same concept as the knit. You're going to pick up your pick up stitch, pull it off the needle over top of the bar so that your bar becomes your picked up stitch. And then you do the same thing until you've picked up all your stitches. And then you end up back where you were. No need to frog everything, no need to freak out and undo all that hard work, because ta-da, we've got a nice picked up stitch. Looks almost as good as everything else. And once you block, which is washing and setting a project, once you block it, this kind of thing disappears. You don't see it. The fabric settles, and you don't see these kinds of mistakes or fixes. So that's picking up a drop stitch. And it looks a little funky, and you just have to move on and let it go, because like I said, when you block it, the appearance will be gone. You won't even notice. So there you go.